So a common issue that I see with younger hitters is dragging the barrel, losing the barrel, dumping the barrel, something along those lines. And so I kind of wanted to talk about what I see it as, what the real problem is, and kind of talk about some real solutions other than just saying some simple cues like get the barrel out, get the head out, be earlier, stuff like that. Because all that does is change contact point, but it doesn't change the actual problem that's causing the barrel drag, the barrel dump, the loss of the barrel, etc. So here's a video of one of my hitters. She sometimes tends to struggle with this, drag or dumping of the barrel. And so what I wanted to talk about is when I see people drag the barrel or dump the barrel, I think the very first concept I want to introduce is, and something that I got introduced to a little while ago, was fascial lines, right? And talking about that lens, and whether you believe in fascial lines contributing to the strength or the coordination of something, you could take that up with you and yourself and what other people you want to talk to. But at least you can look at this from where those fascial lines run through, what muscles they run through, what joints, what ligaments, etc. Right? And you can start to justify for yourself what actually causes this, right? So what I kind of see is, as I'm looking at across the body, is like, do they create some type of tension? Do they get slack pulled out across their body? Okay, but the big one that I like looking at is I almost look at it from just an arms, right? Across the chest, through the back, and through the arms, that perspective, right? Is she able to get slack pulled out in her arms, right? If the arms had big rubber bands to them, would slack be getting pulled out or would they not be getting pulled out, right? Is the rubber band still loose or is it pulled tight, right? So as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at how much slack she's able to get pulled out. And what I notice in particular is in her back arm, is her back arm looks really flexed and almost like it's not getting slack pulled out and that it's not tight. Now, this can vary per person, of course, right? Some people are tighter than others, some people are looser than others. But for her, what I tend to see is she doesn't get a ton of slack pulled out through her arms, specifically this back arm. And when this happens, right, if there's no slack pulled out, then her body has to take off without her arms. And the reason this is really important is as the body starts to take off, right, you can see her shoulder pull up and out this way, her head pulls up and out this way, right? And this will take the body this way, which will then get slack pulled out this direction across the arms to try to get the barrel delivered, right? But what you see here, this barrel drag position where everything's open, the knob's inside, but the barrel's still way back here, right? It's not really getting delivered until way out front, too late. And you can see going into contact, her barrel's still pretty negative going into contact, meaning that if the barrel was here at contact, she'd square this ball up, no problem. But you can see it's this middle line. So the barrel's still negative, which is more of a barrel drag position, okay? So as she's going into contact, there's this barrel drag position that's causing her to struggle, with exit velocity, bat speed, all this stuff. If you have a blast sensor on the knob over here, it's reading bat speed right now, which this isn't going to be peak bat speed potential because her barrel hasn't been delivered yet, right? Also too, from an exit velocity standpoint, this is getting the contact point is caught in the middle of her swing, right? So rather than telling her just to catch the ball more out front, because all this is going to do is it's going to keep the same barrel drag position, it's just going to change the contact point where she's actually getting the barrel to deliver, right? We have to actually fix the barrel drag itself and what's causing it. So I want to kind of dive into that.
Now, like I mentioned, you could definitely say, hey, catch the ball more out front, try to be earlier, get the barrel out, all those things. But actually fixing the problem, we actually have to figure out why the body isn't able to create that position, right? And start to attack that problem. So a lot of times I see it as a strength problem across those fascial lines through their arms, through their chest, through their back. So this is where too, sometimes I'll have them swing a heavier bat. The reason is the heavier bat means they have to start recruiting more, right? When they recruit more, they create this tension, right? And when I say tension, I want them to be relaxed mentally. I want them to be loose mentally, but I have to be connected, right? And I have to have some type of tension through my arms, connecting my arms to the bat, right? The bat to my arms to my trunk, so that when I rotate, the body's not taken off without the barrel. I think another one that's an old school thing and something that actually hits near dear to me is I used to do this a lot when I played, were bunt slashes, right? And why I think that this really helps is it starts training the body to load the arms, the chest, the back through these fascial lines, getting used to loading and firing these rubber bands, getting slack pulled out and utilizing those rubber bands for power. Another thing that I've really liked doing is I've trained more athletes and I've kind of played around with different ways, right, is certain cues work really well, but sometimes I have to get the athlete, the hitter, to actually feel it. It's just throwing things, okay? So what you'll see is I'll have them throw these kettlebells sometimes, right? And this is teaching them to load and unload using these rubber bands. If they try to just spin and push, this kettlebell's not gonna get thrown very far. And a lot of times too, I cue them to throw it over the center fielder's head, so they learn how to load and unload these rubber bands. I like loading these up and do them even heavier with the log, right? They can get pushy with that 2-pound kettlebell, but if they throw this log, this thing's like 16 pounds in that range, they actually have to learn how to stay connected, brace, be strong through this rotation, loading these rubber bands and unloading these rubber bands. So with all this being said, I'm not saying that simple cues like catch it out front, get the barrel out, top hand strong, any of these, change your timing, start earlier, any of these aren't going to help. But what I started to notice is while that may help temporarily, it's not fixing the root cause, right? So when we're diving in to fixing these problems and we're going more player development rather than just throwing band-aids on what gets me to perform today, if we're going real change, real progressions long term, right, we actually need to fix the root cause of the problem, which is, are they lacking strength? Are they lacking coordination through these groups of muscles and these chains and these fascial lines, right? And if we build up the strength and the coordination through these lines, we can actually solve this problem long term rather than just slapping a band-aid on it. So hopefully this helped.